We're here attending the Africa Bar Association meeting to kind of advance our mission. What we've been doing throughout Africa in over 8 countries is we've been training prosecutors and lawyers on trial advocacy, on issues of trans-border crimes, transnational crimes, issues of cybercrime, human trafficking.
CWAG has been awesome, when it comes to facilitating trainings on human trafficking. They're doing a great job.
Recently, I participated in instructing a training in Abuja, Nigeria for NAPTIP, and was really impressed by the strides that had been made there regarding human trafficking investigations and prosecutions. And here at the African Bar Association conference in Nairobi, the same is evident.
As a matter of fact, there was one seminar, workshop that we had in Nigeria in Sheraton Hotel that was sponsored 100% by CWAG on human trafficking, and it was training. They trained the judges, they trained prosecutors, attorney generals came from everywhere. It was really, really enlightening because most of the judges, prosecutors, lawyers did not really understand this human trafficking. It's a specialized area, and so that training really opened the eyes of so many of them, and they were really happy with it, and we hope to have more of that, working with CWAG on more training and conferences like that in the future.
As an instructor for CWAG, the greatest thing I get to do is to share best practices from the United States, and also to participate in the exchange of ideas with the African partners throughout the continent, all with the shared goal of combating transnational crime, including human trafficking.
Well, as long as people are receptive, right? You have to, I think more than anything, you have to have the will of the people is important. They have to want to have the help. And that's been the nice part about being in Zambia, Rwanda, and Nigeria, the 3 previous countries I've spoken at. Everybody has been super engaging and they've been super appreciative. Even after I've returned to the United States, I've heard from some of them where they've reached out to me through email and we've exchanged ideas. So, if other countries in the continent would be willing to accept CWAG's help, I'm sure they'd be more than happy to step up and try and establish some programs.
And the idea is that we live in a global village. Our criminal justice ecosystem is universal. So what impacts a young girl in Nigeria impacts a young girl in New Jersey. So we're all connected, and so we want a system of justice that serves the victim, number one. Number two, it's fair and efficient, that works efficiently, that does not convict innocent people, but convicts the guilty in a fair, just manner. And so understanding that criminal justice and a system of justice is not confined to one geographical location.
There's so many resources out there. Please take advantage of them. We have great information to share, but it's a two-way street. The exchange of ideas is really valuable. We learn from one another. And as the world grows closer and closer and more connected, the exchange of ideas between countries and among countries becomes even more important and even more valuable to each of the participating countries.
Exactly. So we partnering with the African Bar Association because, like I said, we're in 8 different countries. We're in Kenya, Zambia, Nigeria, Ghana, Rwanda, Uganda, and South Africa. So we've been doing trainings and symposiums on a variety of different issues in order to bring awareness to certain issues and then to bring practical training to help build capacity in some of these offices.
Absolutely. Human trafficking is a transnational crime, even though it happens internally as well. It can happen internally, it can happen outside as well, but transnational boundaries, it occurs at all times.
So what we find is that there are issues that we have in common. For example, and when you try to prosecute a human trafficking case, the ability to make sure that the victim is protected and is not treated like a defendant. Issues in terms of corruption, where you have to follow the money, right? So a big part of the training is how do we use technology in a way that we can trace the money before the suspect knows about it, because once they know about it, they hide the money, they move the money, And then how do we combine asset forfeiture with loss of freedom or jail sentences? Because it's not helpful if you only have one without the other, right? So if you convict someone of corruption and you don't take the money, who wouldn't lay in jail for 4 years knowing that after those 4 years you have millions of dollars to come home to? So you have to do both in order to serve as a deterrent. And so we're committed to working with the Attorney General, the Solicitor General, and the Director of Public Prosecutions here in Kenya to develop a program to help train prosecutors and help with this issue of corruption. Because my understanding is that the government, from the President to the Attorney General, to the Solicitor General, to the Director of Public Prosecutions, have declared war on corruption in Kenya. And they're determined to do what they can to stamp it out, and we're willing to be willing partners in that effort.